ask you a question and you answer.
The question is simple,
It's very simple.
understandable.
Take your time, yes.
Okay.
I'll guarantee you.
Okay.
We'll help you. Cartridge, begin. All right, this is May the 12th, 1996. We're going to interview Mr. Max Pila. From Europe, he came over here right after the Holocaust. Max, where were you born in Europe?
Born in Poland, in a very small town, they call themselves Zelew. C-A-L-V, Zelew.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Eh?
How many brothers and sisters did you
Okay.
have?
We started off, mother was very religious, father was not religious. I got 4 brothers, I got 4 brothers, 2 sisters, when whatever you call it, the Holocaust or the war broke over. Also my grandfather was still alive with a very white beard, and he was involved also in the Holocaust. The first brother, mine, he was 13 years old. He was picked up in the street. His name was Moshe Arden. And he was sent, they said, for 3 months, and he gonna come back. He never came back.
Who picked him up, the Polish or the Dutch?
Now let me tell you how it was. The Nazis or the Gestapo rammed up the people in the street, like in the old time, they rammed up here cattle. The first thing what happened when it was took over, wherever the people was living around in the front streets and seeing windows or seeing people, they were moved out. The windows has to be taped with paper. You couldn't go anymore in the front street. Wherever they call it a ghetto. Food was not allowed to go buying anymore. First of all, you took away the citizen. You were no more citizen anymore. You were a vegetable. You couldn't go outside. You couldn't go inside, you couldn't go buying, you couldn't go shopping, you couldn't go working. The thing what it was in the ghetto was made a kitchen, and everybody came for this little bit soup. Whatever you could get until you go home, you maybe can beat up, get until you go back in the ghetto, and the hunger started off very big and very poor and very pitiful. There's other brothers and me, I was rounded up in the same way in 1940. I was rounded up in the street just like cattle. They sent me up one day to the Lodge Ghetto. I was one day in the Lodge Ghetto and then transferred to Auschwitz.
How old were you, Max?
19 years old. And the brothers and the sisters was younger and younger and younger. I came in the Lodge Ghetto. I was one day
Take your time. You want that, Mr. Trinkel?
I did. And I was sent to Auschwitz. And Auschwitz was, in this time, all the nations, I would say Poles, all the kind of Jews, and all the way around in Europe. 1940, Auschwitz became only a Jewish concentration camp. Took up all the nations, because they figured out some Jews, they have maybe a little bit gold, maybe they have a little bit this to change for a potato, for a piece of bread, or whatever. Auschwitz became plain Jewish concentration camp. This was in 1940. Later on, I got some people that came from the same little town, and I asked, because we didn't get any communication, nothing, I asked, what happened to Zelef? Where is all the Jews from Zelef? The answer was, they took him out to the cemetery, they dig themselves the graves, and shot it up with mitraillettes.
Let me interrupt you. How many Jews lived in your town?
About 15,000, 16,000 Jews. It was a very little town, but it still were lots of Jews.
Were most of the people Jewish in that town or not Jewish?
Yeah. But for example, when I was still in Poland right away, Goering, he was the whole big macher. He started sending around a galley from town to town, from town to town. And he hanged 1 million Yidden, Jews, 1 million Jews. Around that hanging, the Poles has got a very big picnic, because the Poles was the biggest anti-Semitism, because you couldn't find not one concentration camp anywhere else be in Poland. Not in Germany, not in Yugoslavia, not in Romania, not in Hungary, not in France, not in Belgium, not in Luxembourg, nowhere, only in Poland. This was the place that was for them like the Messiah, just like the Messiah. Oh, okay. But I find out my family is not alive. I find out one brother was in another camp. And he was hungry. He went stealing a potato somewhere off far, and they catched him. For stealing a potato was hanging. This was the punishment, hanging. They didn't say he was hungry. He starved. The whole concentration camp, what was in this place, must stay and look at it, including me, whether he was saying. He was about 16 years old.
So you saw your brother?
Shamsha. That's it, one brother. What I can say, the only thing what it was, they're saying now, in this time in the years, was not TV, it was not as much communication. People didn't know it. People didn't know it. In Belgium and in Poland, wherever, was a very strong organization, the Bund, very strong. They went to Britain, and they told them, and they brought in pictures, with everything together. This is happening now in Poland, in concentration camp. We're slaughtering, we're hanging, crematorium, alive. They said, the answer, we cannot help. It's a racial problem. They cannot help. The Red Cross, the International, came to Auschwitz. They didn't go where the crematorium is. They didn't go where the hunger is. They didn't go where the slaughtering is. They went to the Gestapo and look at it, and eyes. The Red Cross, I never get 1 penny in my life. They said, it's a racial problem. We cannot help it. Around in the world, when Hitler took over in 1939, ships went around all over in all the edges. Nobody did let them in. Nobody. Where they went, sent back. Sweden, Switzerland, wherever. The United States. The United States lowered the quota of 1%. For example, when the war was breaking out, people supposed to leave from there, the quota came on. Took away for 4 years. When the war was over, these people went to the concentration. Our United States. Same thing. The whole world has blood in them's hand, been Jewish blood. Was no bad. Her life was in concentration camp. We wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Could be winter, could be summer, can't one, whatever. If one, God forbid, would get escape, or it didn't was the ticket, you were punished. The punishment was death. No other way. The day breaks off, I would say with hunger, with such a piece of bread. This piece of bread was for a whole day. You went to work. I was working a coal mine. And a coal mine is very hard to work. Where the coils are is very low. Before you get into the coils, it's stones. They're building like a street. They're all scored. We didn't get anything to put up about it. We didn't get any shoes. We didn't get nothing. The only thing where we covered our body a little bit, it was sacks in concrete, or in cement, or whatever. We covered our body a little bit because the stones was dripping. No shoes, no bread, hunger. What it was the day when you came home in coal mine, you were very hungry, you went hungry to it, and you came home hungry. They called it soup. They put a kettle, was in the middle. You couldn't find anything except water. We were hungry, we were weak, we couldn't keep it. One started pushing the other one, and fell up one on top of the other one. The punishment was, take away the kettle, you didn't get nothing. Hunger. For example, the next day, or whatever, it didn't change. It didn't change today, it didn't change the daughter, it didn't change my 5 years. Treatments. There was no anything where you could go to a doctor. It didn't exist for Jews. It is no anything where you got a headache or whatever. It was some people, no bathrooms, no washing, lice, wherever you could find in your body, sleeping, one pressed by the other one like a herring. Or he got dysentery, or he got typhus. Nobody did care. They were laying together. Every day was a one guy, Eichmann. Every day was a guy, Eichmann. He went around in all the concentration camps. and I make the lecture. You, do, put together about 3,000, 4,000 crematorium. No. The crematorium was built where they said a shower room. Shower room. It's what not enough gas in it, even to kill you, just to mix it up your mind. You went alive in the crematorium. The smoke went maybe to the seventh heaven, the stink, the fire. Nobody didn't want to help us. We were in it.
Let me interrupt you. How did you survive all the years in
Well,
camp without getting...
Okay, let me tell you what. Surviving, if we're going to say, it is no God, it is no devil, it is nothing. The question goes around when I came in the United States, most of them. In European countries, even if you were not in Poland, I didn't go back to Poland because what I'm going to go to stinking Poland. Even if I went back a Jew right away after the war, they killed him anyway. You still alive? Because they killed millions. Poland got 3.5 million Jews. 2,000 survived. How I survived, let me tell you what the story is. I'm very stubborn in my life. I said to myself, I want to see the end. I'm not going to eat any garbage. I never smoked. I took the piece of bread in the morning. I ate it up. When it's in my stomach, nobody can take it out anymore. And the very most important thing what it was, not to get a beating. Stay away from beating. Work. Do the best what you can. I was the only thing where we were lucky, and I was lucky. I didn't saw my brothers, my parents had a suffering. They were dead. The only son, a brother, but it was hanged. I saw him miserable stuff. I was very happy about it. I didn't see nobody to get involved in it between me, the brothers, or the parents. All right. I got sick in the coal mine because the water was dripping and I got paralyzed on one side. I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't anything doing what I was supposed to doing, working, things what I did. The only thing what I did, and I said, no, this is not the end for me. I got to go on. It took me maybe about 2 or 3 months, and I started getting a little better. Little by little, I started off somehow to get it on with the Shalom, and I got started off a little bit better. And I was lucky. I went out in the coal mine. I was transferred to Auschwitz-Birkenau. In Birkenau, I was working. This was very easy year.
What year was this, Max?
Eh?
What year was this?
If you're going to ask me, it's just changed. Maybe a year later, or another year later, whatever. Maybe it was that I was 2 years. Who did know where you are, what you get? and I was working outside. This was a little bit better already. I was working a couple more guys, but I knew them. And I was working in Birkenau. In Birkenau, I was transferred to Auschwitz. And this went on all the years, same thing. The work was very hard. For example, Auschwitz or Birkenau, we went out in the street, we built railroads in this. The wooden things was very heavy. Could be picked up maybe 2 people or whatever, but we were so weak, and maybe 5 people picked it up, and he took the stick, or whatever, you Jude, and beat him to death, because he said, you're lazy. He was not lazy, he couldn't do it, and killed him to death. Every day, I would say, we were sleeping in blocks, but it was not hygienic, nothing, lice, everything. I would say every morning they lay it out in the street, wherever is dead people, taken away. Not even better than just to leave it laying like this. The only place where it was, Birkenau. Birkenau was a little bit better, a little bit, not too much. You could find still other people where they were in Birkenau. For example, I would say Poles, or the Romanians, or the Hungaries. We still trade a little bit. We got a piece of bread, but we always was hungry. The pray, what it was one thing for everyone. Let me not die hungry. Let me have a nap before I'm dying. The feeling I'm not hungry. This was the biggest prayer in the piece of bread in the day. But it had never happened. In 1943, the Russian army came close to Auschwitz, to Birkenau, to Birkenau. Because they started coming close in 1943, 1944, this was the biggest one where they pushed out the Nazis in the places where they got the other thing. In this time, we call it the Dead March. Auschwitz was took out because there were no other nations except the Jewish people, like I told you before. So they cannot trade, they cannot. The Dead March was 3 weeks. They took out all of them where they were in Auschwitz, loaded in opening wagons, march in Poland, ice was dripping, no food, nothing. Until we reached a place we went in lines, 5, 10, whatever, in a line. Snow, wooden shoes. The snow built up the shoes. You couldn't go. You were behind the line. You shot. You killed. We went out from Auschwitz, I would say maybe about 50,000 or 100,000, I don't know, we don't know, nobody knows. We came to another small place, and still in the winter, snow, cold, 2 weeks, no food, not at all. People die, people eat people, sleeping with the people, cutting the people, biting the people. We came in a small town, Gleiwitz, a very small town, Poland. We stopped over there. Was in the thousands in the open wagons, other people dead. There were nowhere to better do. Where they went, nobody knows. Gleiwitz was a very little town. We were sleeping outside in the snow. No food, nothing. This went on the Dead March. This was one in the worst part that could happen to everybody. Like the crematorium. Planes went around and saw the crematorium. American, British. We were begging every day. What did we kill before them going to crematorium? Why didn't bomb it? Why didn't break it? Why didn't they bring the railroads? They didn't going to have the transportation. They didn't. They said it's a racial problem. It's a racial problem. No better. The Red Cross was still some people, Poland or Romania or Hungary. They sent some packages where they got parents or whatever. They said, we cannot accept it. This is a racial problem. Nobody. This went on year. We got together, for example, sometime when it was a holiday or whatever. We talk about it, how life was in Poland. Religion, how religion was. Things like this.
I want to ask you while you're talking about religion. Why are you in the camps? The Yehudim that were in the camps, concentration camps. What was your feeling on religion, being Jewish?
Well, let me tell you what, and I'm telling you the truth. When we went from the Logic Ghetto, I was also in the Logic Ghetto, transport to Auschwitz. It was in the thousand rabbis. In the place where there were, for example, in Poland or in another town, the rabbi never saw anything. The tallis was wrapped around all the way. He looked at that maybe with one eye. And in this time, for example, a rabbi, he was living only for the people where they give it to him. This goes back 50 years. When he went through the street, everybody was shaking.
This is the camps.
Because this is our leader. This is our leader. This is our life. When we came to Auschwitz, it was in the thousands of rabbis. The begging, the screaming, the widow was done on and on and on. God, what did you do to your kids? What did you do to your people? God. So I wouldn't say religion The 5 years in concentration camp didn't go out, but is what it was. For example, in our town, a little town, as you know, in Poland was Alexander Hasidim, Radishes Hasidim, Gerach Hasidim. In this time, our rabbi was Alexander Hasidim. They took him out in his home. He didn't act anywhere else except, for example, if you went in Shoyachet, the intestines was not so clean. He said, don't eat this chicken anymore because there's cancer or whatever. Even if they were hungry and they were poor in Poland, he'd throw it away, the chicken. He didn't eat it. He was Alexander Rabbi. They took him out. They put him in the talus. They put him in the film. They took 2 Jews, one in this end and one in this end, and they sent them up in top of a stepladder, and they hold the apparat around in the town. They didn't slap him in the mouth. The Jews slapped him in the mouth, in the rabbi. Didn't have to kill. When we started off, for example, in concentration camp, I wouldn't say, was wiped out, religion or whatever. They tried to get it in there, for example, of a Hanukkah. I wouldn't say like a Pesach, it didn't exist in the matzahs, didn't exist in anything, whatever it is, to make a prayer. But the thing what it was, they started off getting weaker and weaker, and they took him in the cemetery. Well, they took him in the cemetery. They were burned. Oh, let me tell you now another thing. When we got liberated, when I was liberated in Bergen, Belgium, in the 15th of April.
Who liberated you? The Russians or Americans?
The what?
Who liberated you? The Russians or the Americans?
No. When the Russians started off, pushing to Auschwitz and Bergen, Belgium and Brunner, then they got a little happy to go because the Britons started coming in, the Americans started coming in, so they didn't go too far. They were staying. The only thing what it was, Bergen, Belgium was liberated in the British Army. A day we were very hungry, we were laying swollen in almost like dead. We saw in Bergen, Belgium, a change. We didn't saw any more stuff. We saw they put it on white pants. The Gestapo did this, whatever. Bergen, Belgium was the last camp in all the camps where was liberated. In the 15th of April, in the 10th of May was the war over. All the camps before it was liberated, before it. Wherever it was, whether somebody was alive or whatever. But the American got rid of the camps, the English got the camps, the French got the camps, the Russian got the camps. The only one that was is Bergen, Belgium. Bergen, Belgium was the last camp that was liberated 15 days before the end of the war. One morning, we looked was op Yiddish belief. We were laying, swung, hungry. We saw a Jewish tank. We saw a Jewish tank with a Davidson. We couldn't understand what this is, because we didn't know the war is over there, or the war is now. We know one thing, we're hungry, we're sick. In the British Army was a Jewish brigade, was the Haganah, the Oregon, and they was tried to work in the British Army. And they started seeing what's the hero is. Okay, I finish now.
You're doing good. Go ahead.
American Belgium was in the 100th or in the 50th denominations, Poles, Romania, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, Jews, everywhere. Everyone, for example, of Poles, or Romanian, or Hungarian, or whatever, they build themselves, for them people, a kitchen. For the Jewish people, was nobody to build a kitchen. The same harm, the same tzur, the same trouble. Nobody was to build a kitchen for the Jewish people. The British, I wouldn't say, was the best, the liberators. The best liberators was the Russian army. When the Russian army came in a concentration camp, wherever it was, Gestapo or German, they took horses, they pulled them up to the horses. This went on 4 weeks. Killing them, killing them, killing them.
The horses.
The Auschwitz, the German.
Okay.
Auschwitz, all over around. This was the best liberators. The Ottoman army, the Russian.
What you're saying
They-
is the Russian army slaughtered the Germans who were there.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. They're doing they could what they could. They tried 4 weeks, wherever the mind was made up, kill, because you wouldn't believe it, how many in the concentration camp they killed the Russian people. Soldiers. I'm not talking already about Jews, whether the soldiers in the thousands they took them around and like this. Hang. So the Russian army paid them back. The American army was a little bit better. Where the American army liberated, they built a kitchen for everybody, and it was food. The British army was not so good. It was a problem in it. It was a problem Israel. It was a problem Israel.
I
They
wanna-
didn't care whether you're Jewish, whether you are, and if you were liberated, Bergen-Belsen by the British, was not the best.
Let me ask you now, after your liberation from the camps, you're out of the camps, how long did you stay in Europe?
Okay, I'd love to tell you what
I
happened.
also want to know, when and where did you meet Rose?
Rose? Okay, let me tell you what happened before. For example, I was liberated in Bergen-Belsen. In Magdeburg, in Germany, was a gathering camp. In the Haganah, in the Oregon, was working. The Haganah in the Oregon was working to help them out and to take them to Magdeburg. But the British Army didn't allow this much. The ship Exodus, I was supposed to be also in the ship Exodus, but they didn't allow us ze going out van de rebels. How much they're gone in the Haganah could save them in getting to Magdeburg. They went on the ship. They went on the ship. My problem was I didn't get the time and I didn't get to reach the ship. I did remember myself, my mother has got in Brussels a sister. And they sent me in Germany in another camp between Holland and Belgium. I started get out names because I knew my mother has got a sister in Brussels. And I sent out names, what my name is, where my mother was. Mother.
Take your time.
I sent up words. I got two cousins, they were in Brussels. They were in the resistance. They were communists, they were in the resistance, they were came against the Nazis. And they came, and I gave him my names, and I gave him my mother's name, and I gave him the sister, what was living, that she survived. The two sons kept her covered in the resistance, and she didn't get there. I came to Belgium. I have one picture now in my family that I find in Belgium, my mother's sister. I came to Belgium. They took me out from concentration camp in between Holland and Belgium. They took me to Brussels. They were living in a town away from Brussels, Liège. And they were working only coal mines, rubber factories. It was weak. I couldn't go. I couldn't work. I was quite a bit time in Belgium. I knew Rose when she was in Poland, when she was 13 years old. Because in Poland, in little towns, like Saturday, you didn't work. Saturday, Friday afternoon was Shabbat. So they got together in little towns, in Belgium, Zelle, Vida, or whatever. They got together. And I knew Rose when she was 13 years old. She, in the longer years, the sister emigrated to Belgium, the older sister. This was maybe, I don't know, she left maybe by 1930, 1935, whatever. When I got liberated, and I was in Brussels, I met it, like I told you, the Bund, the Bundesche organization all over Europe. They tried to help the Jewish people to get them food, kitchens, everything. And I was in Brussels, and I was in the Bundesche kitchen, and I ate. All of a sudden, I say Rose. We got met together. Her husband got killed in Dead March. Harry, my son, was back already because she gave him away for 16 months old as a Gentile. He was already in this time 5 years old. So we decided we're going to get married. I wasn't married never because I was 19 years old. Her sister take care of her. She was in Auschwitz all the years. The older sister took care of her. hide it, not to get in trouble. And she lived through Rose. When she came back, she found a child because, like I told you before, he was given away to Gentile people. But they were not religious people. They didn't care about it. Whether he's Jewish or they, for example, when the Germans started off, round up Jewish kids where the parents was already in concentration camp, they took this child, take her away in a very little town and hide him until the era went over. Because in Brussels, it is in the nuns, is in the thousands of kids where the parents didn't come back. And they were staying Gentiles, thousands, because the parents didn't come back. Harry, he was lucky, he lived through. When Rose took him back, like I say, and he started off learning Yiddish, it was a very hard time. And she is the mother. The people over there is the real mother, because they raised them. And he went in the Bundische Schule, and learned, and until now, he writes and reads Yiddish. And we decided to get married because her husband didn't come back. And the decision was, we have a child, I adopted right away. He was born. The decision was between me and Rose not to have any more kids. And we don't have, not to have any more. And we did decide it, and we did it. And this was the life until Harry grew up. And then we didn't want to stay anymore in Europe because it was involved another thing also. These people, where they hide Harry, they didn't get any kids. We saw between two parents, the child will not be happy. We couldn't take away the child because they raised him. This was in Harry. The father is killed. So we decided, okay, that's going to be life. And then I couldn't get any. Rose was a Belgian citizen, but I wasn't a Belgian citizen. I just came into Belgium, and I didn't get any right to work over there. I got to have a permit de travail. This is a Social Security card, and I couldn't get a permit de travail. So later on we decided, it will not do any good, the child going to be between two parents, between Gentile parents, and he got back between Jewish people. He did know later on he's Jewish. And we decided to get it in and to move out for Europe and go in the United States. When Harry came, as you know, he was 12 years old.
Right, excuse me. Now, how did you come to the United States and where?
Okay, let me tell you what happened. In Brussels, the Jewish Joint of the Jewish Federation was working. It's a place, it was, I would say, around 10,000, because Belgium was a very good country. Belgium let in all of them. We were not Belgian citizens. Everything after the war was a ration. We got the rations. We never did nothing for Belgium. Everywhere was cold, everything, heating was instilling cold. They give us for nothing coils. They give us for us transportation of trams, of cinemas. Everything was gave for nothing, just like you would be a Belgian citizen. And it was maybe about 10,000 in Brussels. And I think what it was, later on, we said, no, we better give it off Europe. We don't want to do it. So the joint find out a place for me. The first place was Chicago. To emigrate to Chicago.
Did Rose come with you to Chicago?
To the United States.
Right. And Harry also.
Eh?
Harry also came with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When we were very little and Paul and young, we here in Chicago, but they said in Chicago's only living gangsters. Mom said, I'm not going to Chicago. Belgium, a nice place, a quiet place. I said, I'm not going to Chicago. I don't want to be a gangster. The second place, hold on a minute. The second place was Fort Worth. They tried to find in the map.
Again, I want to interrupt you. Who told you about Fort Worth, or how did you find out about Fort Worth?
What?
How did you find out about coming to Fort Worth? Who told you?
That's what I just want to tell you. They find out in Fort Worth, because I was working, in home, we were in textile, food textile, whatever. So we find out, for example, Fort Worth is a very quiet place, and they proposed for it, and I said, well, I don't know. I was living all the time in Belgium. I don't know if we were going to be able to live over there. Harry was young also. And then we accepted. They start looking for 12 in the map in Europe. They couldn't find it. They couldn't find it. They said, this must be in space. When I came to Fort Worth.
Right, let's stop a second.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Max, you're doing so good.
All right, let's do this side. 1 second, Max.
It's in there kind of tight, isn't it?
Yes. Okay. Okay.
For example, when I came to Fort Worth 40 years back, it was nothing. It was this big. Lancaster was the only street where you could go to Dallas. Oh my God, this killed me. Now you're going to Lancaster, you don't know where you're going. It's so many streets, so many days. But later on, we did, for example, when we came to Allison Island, in New York, and I saw New York, and I said, hey, Rosa, I said, no, we're not going to live in New York. It's too much garbage. Everywhere, where did you go? They call it Manhattan. There was so much garbage in the street. I was thinking, I said, no, we're not going to stay. And Rosa's got 2 brothers over there. We said, we're going to go where they send us. We came to Fort Worth, and we did like it. For example, when we went out in the street, we heard dogs barking. That's our old-fashioned, like in Poland or whatever, in Belgium. And we decided we like it, and I like it. I like Dallas. I mean, I like Fort Worth. I don't like Dallas. I like Fort Worth.
Max,
I like Texas.
who were the first Jewish people you met when you came to Fort Worth?
Meyer Blinderman.
Okay, who else?
Let me tell you why.
And where did you meet Meyer Blinderman?
Hold on a minute. When I came here, in Belgium, I couldn't go to textile because in Poland we were working textile by hand. By hand, in Poland. When I came to Belgium, it's electronic machinery. It's working himself. You understand? I said, hell, that's crazy. How you do it? So I couldn't go to textile. And then later on, like I said, okay, in Belgium, I started off learning another thing, making purses. You know, leather, with models, with the curtain, with the machine, with everything. And I did a very good life, very good life. Because textile, I couldn't do it, because it was too much machinery, too much electronic and everything. Then when I came here, I was used to it already to work in leather. You remember the old man at Vancouver?
Sure.
Okay. That's the story. I came here. The Federation sent me, and this time was, what was the director? Fawn, Mr. Fawn. A heavy guy. In this time, when newcomers is coming, they didn't help him much. Let me tell you what the history was. I came in, and he said, oh, you got to find yourself a job. I said, what do you mean? I cannot, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. But he said like this, the first month we pay you. We gave you $30 a week. But we didn't have nowhere to sleep. We didn't have nowhere to live. We didn't have nothing. And he said, okay, you get this month, and then you got to go to work. Then somehow I find a job for Mr. Akube. Mr. Akube did talk Yiddish, very good Yiddish, as a VA. And I started off working for Mr. Akube, but he was not one of the biggest to make a living for him, what he did. He made only moccasins. And he couldn't get any overtime. The pay was very little, you know. And I was working for him maybe a year. And I said, no, I cannot make a living from this. And Harry was to go to school and things like this. You remember Jack Freeman?
Sure.
It's also interesting.
But you didn't ask,
You remember?
how did you meet Meyer?
Yeah, you remember Tannenbaum also?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I talked to Tannenbaum and I said, Jack Freeman was in this time a very big macher in the sheep, in this time. And I talked to Tannenbaum, they're cousins, and I said, you know, Tannenbaum, I would like to go work in the show. Well, no joke. I was in this time 35 years old, so what? I could work. And I said to Tannenbaum, I said, who is the big macher? He was already here 2 years. Tannenbaum came early. He said, I got a cousin here, and he's a very big macher in the show, Jack Freeman. I went to Jack Freeman, and I talked to him. And I said, listen, I'm young, and I don't care what I'm doing. I can work in the yard, I can work in the kitchen, I can work everywhere. I can do everything what I want to make money. So just to have enough to get around. In this time, was working over there in the old synagogue, a tall guy, a very blonde tall guy. I forgot what his name was. Who gave in, this tall guy, it was a Jew, what they made the trailers. You remember?
It wasn't Salem.
The trailers to sleep in the cell.
What his name's
People.
Henry Salem?
Who?
Henry Salem?
I forgot who. She didn't die too long, maybe for 4 or 5 years.
Who was that from he was out in Arlington Heights?
Walensky.
No.
No.
Okay.
She was over, what did he
The son comes to the services here.
Ricky Salem's mother.
Probably Henry Salem.
It is.
Maybe. Okay, so he was working, he gave him in. The shul was a year old. Abel never, a little Yidela. Hold on a minute. he didn't let him in. But, I started off talking to Jack. Okay. He said, it's possible. Why not? You want to work? It's possible. We do it. And I was hired. I was hired by Melvin Rosenthal.
My brother.
But, yeah, I know. By Melvin Rosenthal. I was hired. And I don't remember the second address. And I was hired by Melvin Rosenthal. I came in and sure, Abel started talking to me. He cannot get Yiddish, he cannot get English. He said, Max, I want to make breakfast for the services, for the kids. He didn't let them in the kitchen. I don't know when. The shul was a year old when I started off. I said, Abela, at the restaurant in the kitchen. Oh, I'm talking Yiddish.
That's fine.
If you want to go into the kitchen, I'll let you into the kitchen. And he got fired, and he went out to college. And I will start off working in the kitchen, making kiddush, Shabbos, making a breakfast, a yurtzad. 2 years, the old shul didn't make any Shabbat because he didn't want to do it. 2 years when I was working, they got only the services 8 o'clock in the night, and they went home. 2 years. Then the latest auxiliary was a very strong organization in the old shul. And they came to me and they said, Max, we want to make Friday night 9 o'clock services and make Onik Shabbat. I said, yeah, why not? So we started off making Onik Shabbats after 2 years working. And just went on 25 years over there. Avalo, as you know, was not a strong guy. He did the best what he could. But for him's business, he was very good. He was very good, very nice. So this was the story, but I went in the shul.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
That's it. Yes, sir.
Well, I hope it's interesting.
Oh, are you kidding?
It is.
It was superb.
Your life
Wonderful.
is
Huh?
is